So we are on Gen 3 of the F77 and we are at the Velocity racetrack, go-kart track here in Bangalore. And the biggest news here is the changes they have made to the software, to the electronics. Refined them is what they claim, after looking at and studying all the data from testing this in Europe at the Autobahn, where you are obviously running much higher speeds. And they have come to realize that when you ride this motorcycle in India, even on the highway, even when you're cruising, the cruising speeds are a whole lot lower because of our infrastructure, quality of our infrastructure and the traffic that we have here. Whereas in Autobahn, most of the riders were essentially just on the gas all the time and much higher speeds. And that in turn helped them realize how much buffer do they have in terms of boosting the performance, make more torque available lower down without really impacting range of the motorcycle. So how you can eke out a little more performance while still keeping the range in the same ballpark. Now that is something, the range is something which I obviously cannot tell you unless we test it on the road, how we always do with electric motorcycles. With the torque, I feel, yeah, there is a small improvement because we have been riding back to back with the older gen and the new gen, and yeah, there is a little bit of an improvement in the initial torque which you have. But if anything, I feel you will not really understand it. You'll not really notice it unless you're really paying attention, mainly because the torque curve has become even more linear now. Yes, I think you have a little more torque lower down, but because it's so flat, because it's so linear, it doesn't give you the punch that you were expecting, or at least what I was expecting from that motorcycle. They have also added a lot of regen now. We are riding on maximum regen, regen 9, and it's a perfect corner. Yeah, as you see, I ran really wide there because I feel there's still scope for improvement in terms of regen as well, especially on a track like this where you have some really fast flowing corners and some really tight ones. So especially in the really fast corners like this, yeah, you don't really get a whole lot of help from the engine, from the regen, as much as I would have liked. Give even more support in terms of deceleration, in terms of regen, if that's possible. If anyone can do it, it is Ultraviolette. In the scenario of how you ride this on the track, again I'll come back to my number one complaint with the F77 is it's running too soft a suspension. So even these cracks on the road is something which I don't even feel. Bike is just gliding over. But if you want precision, especially in a corner like this, where you're braking really hard and you want the motorcycle to turn, yeah, it takes a lot of effort to get the motorcycle turn because you barely have any rebound damping. So motorcycle has a tendency to run wide, and we even tried basically completely getting the preload out, and still that did not really help with the turning. Again, you can argue that this is not really a motorcycle to go balls out, but then again, we are at a racetrack, and that is what you tend to do when you have this really nice tarmac and these really nice twisties at your disposal. So to summarize, yes, you can feel a small increase in the initial torque. It could be more on paper, but then you don't feel it because it's a lot flatter. In fact, I felt the previous motorcycle had more of a kick than this one. This one has a little more torque, but it's more linear, so you don't feel it as much. And the regen also helps a little bit in the slower corners to slow down, but in the faster corners, like the one we are going to again, which is like my favorite corner, where it requires a lot of commitment. Yeah, see how much brake I have to go in to kiss the apex. Yeah, this is where I feel more regen can most definitely help. But yeah, that's the F77 Gen 3 for you. Really good motorcycle. improved even more with the more experience, the more data they've gathered by testing internationally. I'm looking forward to see them hopefully make these other small improvements that I've just mentioned in the next iteration, which will make this bike even more potent and even more fun.